Hi everybody, welcome to the Ink Nouveau. I'm Brian Goulet of Ink Nouveau and the Goulet Pen Company, and today I wanted to give you just a quick tip on the Clairefontaine Triomphe. Now this pad of paper has a glued binding at the top, and it's made to be torn away at the glued binding, and I want to show you some tips that I've found that's the best way to do that with still getting a clean sheet. Sometimes the binding has a tendency, the glue has a tendency to stick to the page, and it can either tear the page if you're too haphazard, or it can have glue that sticks to it. So I want to show you some tips that I've found that help out the most. So let's take a look. So here we are looking at the Clairefontaine Triomphe tablet. This is the A5 tablet. This is the smaller size. I like to use this a lot for my personal correspondence when I'm just writing short thank you notes and things like that. The Clairefontaine Triomphe, it comes with 50 sheets, and it has the binding, it has a crease in the binding here, so it's made so that you can fold it over and then fold it back under like this. So it's kind of nice where the binding allows you to do that. Now the way that it is up here, I'll kind of fold this back a little bit so you can see what's going on. It's a glued binding at the top. You're not really supposed to do that. Don't do that. I'm just showing you for the purposes of this video. But it has a glued binding at the top, and sometimes this glue can have a tendency to want to stick to the paper when you're tearing it out, and that doesn't make for a very pretty correspondence letter. So some tips that I've found is the first thing that I do when I'm writing, well, first off, when I'm writing on blank paper like this, I like to take a lined piece of paper like this, and all of the blank tablets come with a lined piece of paper for exactly this purpose. I take a lined piece of paper and I stick it underneath, and you can just see the lines and subtly enough so that it helps you guide your writing across. It's kind of a neat little trick that helps when you're writing with blank paper. Now what I do when I go to stick that paper under there is I just go and I pull the top sheet up just a little bit and maybe push it right at the top, just to kind of loosen it up a little bit. And you can see right here how it's even coming apart from the glue just already. But it's still going to hold on there, and then I'm going to have some support here when I'm writing my note. So I've written my note, and then what I do, because I'm right-handed, is I always like to tear from left to right. And what I do, oh look at that, it came off already. So let me try another sheet. So I tear from left to right, and the best way that I've found to do it is to kind of pull up and go kind of side to side. So I pull up a little bit and then I go across, and that kind of peels up the page a little bit and gets a nice smooth tear. Now what happens when you start to get a little bit into it, this is a relatively fresh notebook, but when you start to get a little bit into it, you might be able to see here, but you get some glue binding that kind of sticks up a little bit, and that's going to kind of get in your way. So what I do when I get to that point is I would just kind of go and push the glue back a little bit. Just push it back with your finger, and that'll get the glue kind of out of the way and kind of free up the paper to be torn away. So now the next sheet you see will tear pretty freely, just like that. It's still held pretty securely in the binding, but it's going to tear away much easier because I've worked that binding loose a little bit. So I hope you've found this tip helpful. Hopefully you will not have some problems. I mean, Clairefontaine is by far not the only one that uses a glued binding at the top like that, especially for correspondence tablets like that. But that's just one tip that I've found because I've been using a lot of Triomphe lately. So anyway, thanks a lot. If you have any other tips for me or any questions about what I've talked to you about in this video here, email me at brian@gouletpens.com. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.